Bingo. Welcome, everybody, to another Punch Drunk Sports, the first of the year. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody had a safe and happy holidays, whatever it is you celebrate, whatever ghost in the sky you believe in. I hope you were taken care of by that deity. Welcome to Punch Drunk. Sam is not here yet. I hope he's okay, as in didn't get in a car accident, because he's been texting me for 2 hours about the show, and now he's 20 minutes late. Ari, haven't heard from him since he lost the reverse Kobayashi bat. So joining us is, as always, the pregnant Fight Nanny. How's your health? How's everything going?
Good, thank you. Normal.
That was a great way to announce. At the end of our last episode of the year was you announcing that you were having a baby, and you're still planning on it.
Yeah, she's still kicking.
Okay, that's good. And joining us, one of my good friends, big drummer, country drummer, baseball player, comedian, sports personality.
You got it.
Arizona State University.
That's correct.
Brody Stevens, everybody. Steven Brody Stevens.
Enjoy it. Always great to be here at Punch Drunk, the podcast.
I was with you very late New Year's Eve. We were doing the band with Don Barris. You were doing some drumming.
Drumming on the tabletops with my rubber protective drum deals. So I could, they're rubber sticks on the end so I could play on the, and it's helps my tennis elbow, because I would play on the chairs before and that would really hurt my elbow, but I felt so good the next day. Yeah, we had a great show that New Year's night.
Packed audience. Usually when we do the band, there's not that many people in there sometimes.
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, we did the band, and you and I have played in many incarnations of the band.
Absolutely.
And Don, the leader,
lead singer of the band.
Guy, he said, let's get the band back together, or he created a new band and kind of allowed me to come up and play some of the old hits as well. And it was fun. It definitely reminded me of us playing how we used to do it, I don't know, 3-4 years ago maybe.
It's been going on for a long time. And I just realized the other night that we hadn't done it in like a year and a half maybe. Yeah,
it's been a while, and I'm thinking that, I don't know why it stopped. Maybe Don, he had to take a break from running around. It was kind of, you got to be in shape to do that,
Yeah.
And also you're up late, and then the club itself, a lot of new comedians, people going, hey, let's get some stage time and all that. Like, let's work some stand-up. But you see that what we did that late night, I remember so many times back in the day that it would be like a concert. We would go on and
90-minute set,
and we would have 40 people in there dancing around, having a good time, and then we would leave sweating, and and then I
was exhausted from that.
It was great exercise.
Absolutely.
And then I left the band. I had problems. I've butted heads. I've had tennis elbow. I hurt my back. So a lot of things, but it was great. I was thinking like, hey, we should be doing this at least once a month or once a week. I mean, I would say at least once a month.
Once a month would be great. The last Friday of every month or something, that would be super fun to do.
Yeah, and I think you can promote it a little bit, and all you need is a few people in there, but to have like 30 or 40 was awesome. And we had those times before. I'd walk out and I go, that's one reason why I left the band, is because I saw what it could be. I said, look at this. We're rocking this thing. Let's just keep doing it, keep growing.
And then you got the tennis elbow, too.
I got tennis elbow. Don did his stuff. Things got a little sideways. The club started doing what it did, but hopefully maybe we could work together and get this thing going again. Thank you for having me. Welcome to Punch Drunk.
That was, wow. See how professional that was, everybody? That's absolutely fantastic. What did you, New Year's, you went to some light show, you said?
Yeah, Enchanted Forest of Light in La Cañada. There was like 11 different light exhibits, and it goes through the forest, and it takes like 2 hours. It was really cool.
But like Christmas lights or some shit?
No, just like there's like singing flowers. It's weird to explain. There's this.
You sure you and Jeff just didn't do mushrooms? You shouldn't be doing psychedelic drugs.
He was saying you would think there'd be more people here like Ari on mushrooms, but it was mostly family and people on dates.
Right.
Singing flowers?
Did you wear like a thin shirt so the baby could see the lights through?
Yeah. And you went up to the bright lights. There was this one part, those like green projector lights that people put on their houses at Christmas?
Yeah.
Where you just walk through the forest, and it's that, so it looked like you were in like an Avatar. It was like really cool. That was my favorite land. It was just pitch black, but with those green lights all over the trees.
Do they move like it looked like fairy trees?
Yeah, so it looked like fireflies and fairies everywhere. I never wanted to leave that land.
Oh, yeah. I would. You could have a meltdown in that if you're like on drugs. You would still be standing there.
Yeah.
If you're on mushrooms, you would just be staring at one. You would never get to the second exhibit.
Yeah.
You go to the first one and you would just stare at one thing for fucking.
And the first exhibit is these flowers that go to the music. So those are really cool. So those you could really get stuck.
What do you mean singing flowers? You just said singing flowers like it's just, oh, of course. The Portuguese singing flowers. Yeah, of course.
It doesn't make sense. There's a video.
It clearly doesn't make sense, which is why I'm asking you about it.
I know, but I don't know how to explain it. But this isn't good audio, but you can watch the video.
So you were in a forest.
Yes, with lights everywhere.
Was Logan Paul there?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay.
Who's Logan Paul?
He's this guy who made a video in the forest.
Oh.
It's popular.
That is weird.
Cool lights.
Yeah, that's clearly for people on drugs. And it's La Cañada, so everybody there is probably fucked up, which is Spanish for the Canada, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's what Mexico calls Canada, La Cañada. Again, I don't speak Spanish.
I get that.
All.
La Cañada. That is funny.
Thanks, Tennis Elbow. Appreciate that.
La Canado.
So Ari lost the bet and now he won't talk to anyone? Is his phone off?
I think
burner phone?
I think that there is no coincidence that Ari and Sam both lost the reverse Kobayashi bet, and neither one of them are anywhere to be found.
Is that what it is? That could be, right?
Yeah.
I'm theorizing. I mean, they both have clearly been saying that we were going to be here today.
Yeah.
They both plan to. Ari, typical Ari fashion. I haven't heard. I don't know. I got call in at 3. What's the number? Oh. Ari's going to call in. I'll just have him call my phone.
This could be the ultimate FU. Like, this is a 2018 prank, and it's gone awry. And people are, when you do a prank, it's supposed to be towards a person. You get a laugh, but now there's collateral damage. We have people here. We have a pregnant woman. We have me in here. I'm trying to promote my podcast, the Steven Brody Stevens Festival of Sports.
Guys, guess what?
Which will be airing very soon on the All Things Comedy Network. Look for it. We have 50 in the can.
Festival of Sports. Wow, 50 in the can.
Well, not quite that much, but that I'm going through a new approach to podcasting. Release 20 at one time. Every 3 months, release 20, and just you have to binge listen.
Is that true?
Partially, but it's a new theory, right? What do you think? Like, you build up a lot and you have to listen. It's like a mini series.
I entertain the idea of doing that with my new podcast.
Oh, well, I did it first. I need to sign the documentation.
But it was so much work for me to do that it was going to be such a period before, it was going to be like a year before I would do it. Before I could release it because of all the recording and editing and everything I did. So I'm just doing one a month and kind of cliffhangering them. But I do like that idea of doing that, and almost like releasing a Netflix show, but it's a podcast.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's write that down. That sounds good. Yeah, that's
trademark Brody Stevens, Steven Brody Stevens.
Yeah, you just put them all down at once, and it's like I'm presenting you. It's like a trilogy. It's all at once. It's like Back to the Future Part 2. They were still filming it when Back to the Future Part 1 was still being filmed when Back to Part 2 came out. It was like, you know what I'm saying? They're bouncing between dimensions and timelines, and that's what I do in my podcasts. I kind of bounce between dimensions and timelines.
So do you go back and interview old Babe Ruth or any you bounce back that far?
No, it's more just to the 90s. We have a popular. We have something called the baseball card game. It's really great. We talk about 90s baseball players, and it's sweeping the nation. It's called the baseball card game. We'd love to get you on it and see what kind of knowledge you have of these guys. And we randomly pick baseball cards, and everybody's involved.
So we randomly pick baseball cards?
Yes. Randomly select cards that I've chosen.
Uh-huh. I have seen you posting on Instagram a lot of baseball card photos recently. So maybe...
Well, I'm into that. I'm kind of trying to get back to basics. I'm trying to stay offline, and I think baseball cards is something that connects me to a simpler time. Reading more Dr. Seuss books. I'm just doing those sort of things.
To me, and I'm curious about that last thing you just said.
I know. I'm are you reading more in general also, or just Dr. Seuss?
To me, hey, you want to sit here?
He's not coming.
Yeah, Sam is in Tampa. Sam Tripoli is in Tampa. Although for 2 days he's been talking to me like he'll
he
be
just
here.
said he's in Tampa, Florida?
Uh-huh.
He definitely told me in the morning he's going to be here.
I heard that too.
I don't know. I didn't hear it. I'm out of the loop. Sam still needs to send me Venmo.
Me too.
No, he's a good guy. I'll tell you what, we did Texas, and it was a good trip. We did 4 shows, Sam Tripoli, Jim Florentine, Chad Zumach, and we did San Antonio, Houston, Austin, San Marcos, and Sam was great. Sam did a nice job getting the Airbnbs, getting us to the gigs, and it was a fun trip.
You went and did the Horn. My buddies in Austin. You did their sports morning radio.
Yeah, that was
those
great.
guys are great.
Oh yeah, I forget their names, but
Yeah.
I'm I have a memory. That's why I'm taking Alpha Brain, trying to learn people's names better. But yeah, Austin was really fun, and I love doing the sports radio. They were good. They came out to the show, and San Marcos, we did a show which is like an hour outside of Austin, and we played outside. It was like in the 40s, so I had to really bundle up and get a jacket. But we moved in under. They actually had heaters, but it was outside. It was fun. I think that was my. I loved all the shows, but for me, like doing what I do to play outside is kind of fun, and we had a good time with that. So it was cool.
Now, has there ever had any moments where you're doing stand-up and gigging or whatever, and then you realize that your tennis elbow starts to get in the way?
Well, no, I don't. No, I don't have the tennis elbow anymore. It's just like always, it's a reminder. To be honest with you, you sit in bed and you have a laptop or you have an iPad, and you're reaching over and you're grabbing and you're reaching, you're pulling something over. That's how you can kind of put strain on your elbow. Now, your tennis elbow, which is outside. So it's grabbing, and that's what the drumming did. And I think because I was playing on chairs, it doesn't give you that rebound. So you're like hitting the chair, and it's coming to an abrupt stop.
Right.
So if you get the rubber tips, like I've been working with, and using a pad or the rubber tips, you get the rebound. That's why I drummed so much. I played an hour with you guys, rocking it out. It's because I have proper form now, and I'm also using the you can get bad habits and get hurt. That's why I got hurt in baseball, because of my mechanics.
What was bad about your mechanics in baseball?
Well, I always have problems with my elbow, whether it's tennis elbow or Tommy John elbow, ulnar collateral ligament. It was just mechanics. I would fly open, meaning like I'm right-handed, so my glove hand, it would kind of like fly towards, let's say, first base side. So my chest is exposed, and then kind of like at a hunch in my arm, but I threw the ball well. I got it to where I needed to go, but all that stuff ahead of time was kind of unnecessary movements. But I was a decent pitcher. I knew how to pitch, curveballs. I could read the hitters and all that. But when I got to college, they kind of broke down my mechanics, tried to make it a little more, tighter. But because I started throwing harder, I was stronger. I started putting extra torque on my elbow, and because my mechanics weren't where they should have been, even with that kind of better coaching, I put so much torque on my elbow, I just jacked it up, and that's why I had surgery May 14th, 1991 on I had my ulnar collateral ligament.
Is that Tommy John's?
Similar. It was Jim Gott surgery, if you look him up.
Really?
Yeah, my ligament was still intact, but it came off the bone. It was needed to be secured to the bone. That was causing me the pain. But ultimately, they probably should have just done the whole Jimmy John surgery.
I had John Holmes surgery on my elbow. That's where they take a penis and then they use that as a ligament.
Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know.
Have you used that joke before?
No, I just thought of it right now.
Oh, why don't you let me have that one?
It's all yours, bro. You're
I
the
do
one with the fucked up elbow.
I do the Jimmy John. But I'll tell you what, with proper mechanics, honestly, and proper training, that's the thing. Like, you can do exercises now that are preventative, and they really work those inner muscles on your shoulder and your elbow. Yeah, guys still blow out their elbow, but they get it fixed, and everyone's like throwing 100, and they did this arm. It's just like they can take that torque because they're doing these little micro exercises with the weighted balls and the rubber tubing and the stretching and the computer imagery. It does.
You're saying that technology, sports science, wasn't available in the early 90s that it is now, and it's much more preventive than it was when, back when you were pitching in college. A lot of that stuff wasn't around.
Exactly. Like,
Oh.
for example, I'll use that body blade. You ever see that? You shake it's a blade and
Yeah,
it works
yeah.
with momentum. Like those kind of little small micro work those supporter muscles. You can get that as like make that a workout. You know, you could do preventative exercises and have that be your workout. That's kind of like my philosophy. So I feel like.
Did you ever, when you were pitching, did you ever cream somebody with a ball and be like, oh man, like you felt guilty about it? And did you ever throw at anybody on purpose? Any chin music?
I've brushed a couple guys back. I think like when I've had 2 strikes on somebody to back them off the plate and set them up for a curveball. I could definitely sense a strikeout. I think one guy that I really drilled hard. I didn't mean to, but I did. It was a fall game or a spring game there at Arizona State, and we were playing BYU. So I pitched against BYU 4 innings. God, I remember. I think it was a fall game, but I threw one right in this left-hander's ribs, like fastball. I just held on to it too long. And I threw probably 90. I threw pretty hard with bad mechanics.
And that was a fastball.
Yeah, right in his ribs. And then
It just fold him?
Yeah, I remember hitting him. Like, I didn't mean to, but I drilled him. But other than that, I was a pretty good pitcher. I had more strikeouts than innings. I struck out 35 in 28 innings at Arizona State.
Not too shabby.
So I walk away knowing that, I did that and I made the most of it. But, yeah, I would I definitely – I got it out of my system, but I'm always working on my pitching. I'm always visualizing. I use that. Visualization, we learned that at Arizona State. That's – all that stuff you see like in baseball, it's all like we learned that at Arizona State about visualizing, positive affirmations, only, being supportive, hustling. Arizona State, they had hustle baseball. You had to run off the field, sprint to home. When you struck out, you sprinted back to the dugout.
If they saw you like walking to class and not running to class, would you have to do laps or some shit?
Yeah, no, they were threatened. Coaches back then, Coach Brock was a bear. Like, he got in trouble for pushing these kids, like making them run, on cement and spikes in 115-degree weather. He was doing crazy stuff like that. But they definitely would. That
sounds dangerous.
Well, yeah, it was. They one time they had a drill. Guys were in trouble, and they had to do a sliding drill. And Bump Wills, I don't know if you're Maury Wills' kid. Played in the major leagues. Bump Wills played in the major leagues with the Rangers also. Broke his ankle like during a drill. Coach Brock was making him do some crazy sliding drill, and it kind of changed Coach Brock. He became, I think, a Christian after that moment because he was really pushing the kids, and he broke his ankle.
Weird.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of stuff that goes on. But what I learned and here's the other thing. I went to ASU because I wanted to be around baseball, Major League Baseball, and look at all the teams. There's 15 Major League teams there that train. And you have the Cubs there. They use the same mental coaches I used in college. So it's a mecca for all that. And if you can apply it to audience warm-up, podcasting, I've seen results.
Have you been to the Wrigley compound on Catalina?
I've heard about that. I've not been to Catalina, but I know that the Chicago Cubs had spring training on Catalina Island for a year or so.
Yeah,
no, I've not been there.
I think 3 years.
Oh, wow.
I think 3 years.
What
Johnny looked that up. The Wrigley family loved Catalina Island, and they bought this huge piece of chunk of it and built this like big mansion and baseball field.
Yeah.
Really nice one. And they preserved it, and you can like literally go there and take a tour of everything. You take a tour of the Wrigley Mansion. You take all
Is the
around
field
compound.
still there?
All of it's still
Really?
there. Yeah,
I got to see this.
Yeah, you can take a whole. They got it's all like pictures of it and all that shit.
It's like you grow up here in Los Angeles.
So they had to fly here for spring training, and then take a ferry out there, and then the Cubs would be just on Catalina Island all of spring training.
It's crazy.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah,
just because he didn't want to leave, he's like, "Fuck going back to Chicago in that cold ass weather."
That's a good history. That's a good story. I should go out there and do an investigative report on that.
You should do one of your podcasts there and then release it in 2 years.
Oh, Jason, how dare you? Well, you know what? It's evergreen.
That is true.
But people don't. Real quick on this, there is a Chicago, Los Angeles, Southwestern, Phoenix connection. Because you look at the Cubs who trained out on Catalina. There also was Wrigley Field where the Hollywood stars that play. There was a baseball team, the Wrigley Field in Chicago. Then they have Wrigley Field that was here in Los Angeles, and they owned that. So I feel like when people go, "Oh, Brody, you're a Cubs guy," yeah, there is a connection to Los Angeles, and I am I'm going to the Cubs convention next week. They asked me to go out there, so I'll be in Chicago.
Where's that going to be at?
That's going to be at one of the big hotels there at
Michigan or whatever.
The Hyatt. The Hyatt there. It's a big thing. January 12th through the 14th. I will be in Chicago. I don't know exactly what I'll be doing. Maybe taking some one-on-ones with the players. I'll do some meetings with them, discuss positive energy, taking advantage of your time in Arizona. You're out there for spring training.
Stop.
Yes.
Taking some one-on-ones with the players.
Yeah.
And discussing positive energy.
Yes.
Walk me through that. Let's say I'm, I don't know, I'm Rizzo, right? And I want to take a positive second here with you, Brody.
Okay.
And I sit down. Yeah, go for it.
Well, you know what, Anthony? Thanks for being here. You're doing great.
Call me the Riz.
Oh, I know you, Anthony. I know you.
I know. We've been great friends.
Well, we are friends. You think I'm funny? You had me host two of your benefits.
That's true.
You saw me do comedy for the Marucci Awards in Baton Rouge. We have a history.
I saw you in The Hangover.
Yeah, who didn't? #1 R-rated comedy of all time. What I'm getting at is, Anthony, you won Roberto Clemente, the award for the Roberto Clemente Award. That's a big deal.
Yep.
You've donated millions to charity. You're a cancer.
It's like baseball's Man of the Year.
Baseball's Man of the Year, exactly. You're a cancer survivor.
That's right.
You've
worked with the kids all the time.
You're a legend in Chicago. You've won a World Series. You're from Fort Lauderdale. I have nothing.
I didn't even know that about me.
Well, there you go. I have nothing to add. You walked into my room. This is an open door. I have.
It was actually locked.
Well, they asked me when I checked in a hotel. They go, "How many keys?" I'd go, 26. One for me and one for each player. So you have a key right now, and you walked in here.
Yeah, I sure did.
So I'm asking you.
I was actually wondering what that key was for, and I just was like, "Well, I did get this one key in an envelope in my hotel room." And it did open the door.
Well, I'm in room 818, of course, always. I request
I'm in room 7.
818. So you're here, and it could just be a hello. Also want to let you know that whatever you need, you're doing fine.
Yeah, things are going pretty good for me.
There you go. Well, Anthony.
A lot of that is because of our friendship, though.
Well, it's positive energy. You come from a good family. Your dad's funny. He's from New York. You have that northeastern New York. People from Brooklyn are real. People from I was a tour guide at Radio City Music Hall. I was a waiter at Cafe Un Deux Trois on 44th and 6th. I was a barker at the Comedy Cellar in Greenwich Village. I know New York people.
What did you do at Radio City Music Hall?
I was a tour guide.
So they would give you a script?
Yeah.
And you would have to walk around and, hey, this is this, and this chandelier is from 1918 and whatever.
Yeah, I did 3 to 5 1-hour tours a day. So I worked, a few days a week, and I would do.
Is that a tipping industry?
No. No, I would. The only thing I would tip would be tipping over the vending machine in anger. You got it. No.
But they don't tip.
I'm so good. I know the joke is I tip vending machines over. Okay. No, it was sad. I mean, back it was like $11 an hour or whatever it was. But I saw the ad and wherever I saw it, backstage or something. I just wanted a job where I would be talking at least. You know, as a performer, you want to talk. So I got the job, and basically it was Radio City right there in Rockefeller Center, and you do a 1-hour tour. So you would meet them, and it would be anywhere from like 10 to 30 people, a lot of classes, and that's the one reason why I did it. I wanted to see, could I be funny?
You mean like field trips, like students?
Yeah, a lot of students. So I wanted to see, like, could I be funny? Like when I started comedy, I grew up here in L.A. I went to school out in Arizona.
Whereabouts did you go to college?
Arizona State. I've mentioned that.
Did I know that?
7 times.
Did I know that?
So, but then I went to Seattle. Will I be funny in Seattle? Okay, I got laughs in Seattle. Seattle's very open and happy, if you could figure it out. So I went to Seattle. Then when I went to New York, I always felt in the back. I always wanted to go to New York. When I was a kid, I said,
let me follow this timeline. You grew up here, 818 till you die.
818 till I die.
In the Valley. Then you go to Arizona State, little baseball action.
Still in the Valley.
Then
Valley of the Sun.
It is in the Valley of the Sun. And then Seattle's your next move.
I went up to Seattle, because I came back here. I played baseball, and I took that acting class at my final semester at ASU, and it was like, I got bit with the creative bug. I mean, I had it in me, but I was so done with baseball, I didn't want to be involved in. I was kind of like the jock humor. It was out of my system. It was annoying. I got it. I get it. Playing at ASU was like, back then, 88 to 93 was like a major league team. This was before the Diamondbacks, and everyone, focused on ASU baseball there, a lot of them. So you had to act and be professional. So it was like I went through it, and I was I got it. The jock humor, the locker rooms, intellectual wasteland. And then when I did that acting class, it was just so much fun. And I wasn't trying to be funny. I was trying to be serious. Okay, maybe I could be an actor. And then people would laugh at me or whatever. And I did a couple.
What would they laugh at?
Just me trying to be serious or read my lines. So I would get.
That's kind of sad.
Why?
Yeah, it hurts. So you're laughing now. It hurts my feelings.
Why would they laugh though? I mean, were you
I don't know.
Stammering or?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I never did stand up. I was a baseball player. I struck out 35 batters in 28 innings. I never did anything creative. I never played drums. I mean, I did some goofy stuff in high school or not even high school. I think like in elementary school, goofing around. But I never did anything creative because I was insecure, self-esteem. I mean, even to this day.
Me too.
But doing podcasts is perfect for me, and because you don't have to worry about what you're looking like.
You kind of hide in the shadows. Edit it if you have to edit it.
Whatever. Yeah. So, but sports, I didn't get that opportunity really to hide necessarily. But so you do the. I did.
There's also a thing with sports where you also you can kind of hide in the team. There's such a sense of camaraderie where just saying like how stand-up or performing or any kind of stuff like that, it really is just you. No one's giving you a pep talk.
No.
Unless I get the secret key and then I can come talk to Brody, pep me up a little bit.
Yeah, just something about being on a team, being with different personalities, and being a pitcher. You're in a bullpen. You spend a lot of time training. It is like pitchers versus hitters, and football's like offense and defense. You just learn about group mentality and male behavior. And again, like when you're at Arizona State, you're traveling and you're being, you couldn't mess up. Things would be in the newspaper. And then you had this hard-ass coach, and you had to go to class. There was they knew what was going on for the most part. So, but for me, it was just like learning mental strength and visualization and getting the most out of, what you could do.
So you started taking acting classes in Seattle?
No, I did. Well, I did the one acting class at ASU. So then... And then when the guy said, Brody, you should do stand-up. You're funny. And I never even considered doing stand-up. And I said, oh, maybe I will. And I looked into it. I started writing some jokes like my last year at ASU. But
do you remember any of those?
Same ones I do today.
Really?
Good looking. Done a lot of modeling in Pakistan. My mother's an Uber driver. I wrote that back in 89.
Uber didn't even exist.
Well, I had a feeling because I said I'd know about this Remember the podcasting?
Yep. Positive. Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. No, I did the. Graduated, and I didn't do any stand up. I never went to the Tempe Improv. Never did an open mic. I saw Pauly Shore do stand up twice on campus, and I liked him. I went to another show at a place called At the Gold Rush.
Dude, I heard you like to pitch, bro.
Yeah. So I saw Pauly. It was cool, and everyone liked Andrew Dice Clay. Like we got a kick out of that watching him. But I came back to when I came back to L.A., this was in the summer of '93 because I graduated. I just wanted to learn everything about show business. I said, if I'm going to go into it, I got to learn everything about it. But also, it was hard to tell my parents, like, oh,
that you're gay,
that I'm gonna. Funny that I'm gonna.
I read that in college.
Very good. But it's hard to say, like, you put all this time into baseball, 12 years or whatever it was into baseball, and then all of a sudden...
And an education.
And an education, which I got half of it paid for through scholarships and all that, but it was, like, hard to say, oh, I'm going to do comedy. Like, you never said you were going to... You're not funny. I mean, to this day, my mom still doesn't think I'm funny, So, and I was always intimidated by my dad. I never really tried to be funny in front of my dad. So I had a lot of this, didn't have the confidence to let it out. But my friends and I was myself, oh, Brody, you're funny. So I knew I had something there, but I just couldn't go and say, I'm going to do that. But because my mom was into education, I said, well, I'll take a stand-up comedy class. So I took the stand-up comedy class at the UCLA. So Pauly Shore's sister, she taught at Sandy Seashore.
Sandy.
And I knew.
She still teaches those.
I think so, yeah. I'm a guest instructor. No. But it was at UCLA. It gave me foundation and structure. Coming from baseball, I knew, like, okay, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, UCLA, I'm going to do my 2-minute stand-up. And then the graduating class, 12 weeks later, whatever, is going to be at the Comedy Store. So I had my Comedy Store notebook, and I knew taking this workshop, because it was affiliated with the Comedy Store, was my way into the Comedy Store. I was a Comedy Store guy since the 80s. As a kid, my mom dated Jack, that was her boyfriend, and he lived over on Alta Loma. I'd always see the lights in the Comedy Store. This is in the 80s. I knew something was going on there. I just didn't know what exactly, but I could feel that energy as a kid. And then when I did the workshop at UCLA, every night after the class, I'd do the 2 minutes, and I wouldn't really get laughs unless they would laugh, excuse me, phlegm. Again, they would laugh at me making fun of getting mad at myself.
Was it little things like that you would do?
Probably, I don't know. But that's what was happening, and it was like, God, my joke. They would laugh when I would get mad. So same kind of thing that would happen in the acting class. But after every class, I talked to Sandy. We'd talk about comedy, making it visual. That was her thing, make it visual. And I would always drive to the Comedy Store, and I'd drive by this is in 93, so I'd drive by the Comedy Store, and I go, one day maybe I'll get in there. I never went in. I would just drive by and feel the energy of it. And then we had the graduating class, and I did well at the Comedy Store. My first time on stage outside of any kind of auditorium or whatever was at the Comedy Store.
In Belly?
No, in the OR. It was packed. It was July of 93. And it was a bringer show pretty much. A lot of bringer people, I think. It was a class, but it was packed in there. And I got business cards. Like, hey, you have a commercial, this and that, commercial agent? So I really felt like a comedian. I can see how these guys feel when they do one bringer show at the Comedy Store. They're like a comedian. That's how I felt.
Sure.
So I said...
It's almost a trick.
Yeah, and I fell for it.
So did I.
And I did I said, well, now I got to go do open mics. So I went out with my friend, another guy from the workshop who later went on to be a writer with The Simpsons and some other stuff. J. Stewart Burns. He's done some stuff. But we went out to Chatsworth to a bar and did our first open mic. And I went up, and it was like doing the same jokes I did the night before.
That murdered in front of all your friends and family.
Exactly. Not getting laughs, but more. And I got it, and then more, but the host, like, just, oh, it's an open mic, this guy, whatever, here he is, all right, whatever. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going this route. I'm just, me personally, I'm from the Valley. I'm not going to do shows in my neighborhood and have some host, MC, not that he was making me feel better, that's just the way it was. I'm just not going to have that happen in my neighborhood. I won't take it. So I said, not doing the open mics. I knew right away. So I went and took a business of comedy class. I wanted to learn more about comedy. Just because I'm not going to do open mics, why should I be shut out? So I studied. And again, telling my mom it was class, it made it more palatable to her. Oh, he's going to UCLA. He's learning comedy. So I took the business, and he said, Danny Robinson, who was an APA agent, he said, you know, if you want to do stand-up, you got to leave L.A. Get out of L.A., go to a smaller city. And that's kind of what put it in my head to, like, go to a Seattle, go back to a Phoenix. And I just started researching. I know you let me tell my life story, and I appreciate that.
No, I'm curious about that.
But, a lot of it just...
Then you went to Seattle, and then you just started doing, like, more booked gigs, or you're doing stand-up up there?
Open mics. Mm-hmm. I took stand-up comedy. My approach the same way I did, baseball. Just got to be there, show your face. So I started doing all the open mics at Comedy Underground. That's where I met Josh Wolf and Joey Diaz and Craig Gass. And, Mitch Hedberg was up there right at the beginning. We would see him around. So that was just Seattle had so many great comedians.
I feel the same way about Chicago. Yeah, take a drink. I feel the same way about... And for me, it was almost the opposite, because I actually started in a small place and then came here. I started in college when I was in Indiana. Then I went to Chicago. Then I came here. So I'd already done it for, 3 or 4 years by the time I got to L.A.
Yeah, Seattle, I just never had the urge to do stand-up in Phoenix. So I was going to say, like, why go back to Phoenix? And I was, I was working at Macy's out in Topanga, and I was just kind of spinning my wheels. I just felt like I didn't have that support system, and I knew what was ahead of me. So I said, I can't do it here. You got to just get out of L.A. and become the best comedian performer you can. And I had family up in Seattle. And they said, why don't you come up here? They support the arts. And that's where I jumped in, like, yes, to doing the shows at the Comedy Underground, doing cable access. Then I got an internship because I still like sports, but I got an internship at Cairo Sports, a CBS News in Seattle. And I would go down to the Seattle Mariner games and get sound bites after the game with, like, Edgar Martinez, Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., Lou Piniella, stick my mic in. And I did my... I would do I was an intern. I wanted to learn, but I felt like my strength still was stand-up comedy. Like, me trying to be a sportscaster was, like, not the right fit. I wasn't being myself necessarily. I was too nervous. So doing stand-up freed me up a little bit, but also my cable access show that I did with my friend Tana. We did a live show. It was like this, live and crazy. But we were in Seattle. It was cable access. And you do the show, you're in studio. You don't know what's funny or what's not. You're just having fun. But I would be on the...
Yeah, because no one's laughing right there.
Exactly.
You don't get the actual feedback.
Right. You don't get it. And then I'd walk on the streets of Seattle. Hey, Brody, Jews and Samoans rule the world. And I was getting, like, recognized in Seattle 3 to 5 times a day because there were only, like, 40 TV channels, if that. And we were on Channel 29, and we would be on at 8:30 or 11:30, and people were flipping. They would see you. So I was constantly I was getting recognized. So I knew, like, what I was doing, being myself, people liked. I knew there was something there. And then also I sold T-shirts for the Seattle Supersonics. That's another thing. I would call into sports talk radio all the time. That's my
bet
time.
You did.
Yeah. I would call into T-Man. I called into Mitch in the morning, and my whole thing was...
I bet you did.
I would take shots at Seattle. I'm from L.A. We care about our teams. We push. And that was my angle, but they would always put me on.
Sure.
And I got, it's stage time. So that's what I tell these guys. You got to find, even if it's waiting tables,
Dude,
you're talking.
That's why I like doing, a lot of times, I'd be hanging out at the Comedy Store late night, but, screwing around with Don in the back and all that is stage time. You know what I mean? It's those other little nuances where you can find the opportunity to make something funny. Doesn't even have to be about you. It could just be chiming in with a good zinger or something like that. But when you're not on stage, how can you be still working on your craft somehow?
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. The Comedy Store. And I was thinking,
practicing the art of being funny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking that the Comedy Store is like UCB. It's like it's a comedy school. It's a comedy gymnasium. It's if you want to just
prison, but
if you want to just do comedy, like it's Don Barris. You can always play around with Don. We're like up and down, Don and I.
I haven't noticed,
but I'm back in with Don because you know what? It's fun to play and to not be a part of it. You feel like you're out and outcast.
You do.
And it's not fun. And then when you get in, you go, this is fun, and it also does make you a better performer. So you have a great attitude and you're the right approach about it, taking advantage. That's why they have Roast Battle, they have Kill Tony, they have Late Night, we have the music, you have the back lot. There's so many. You got to take it. Then you have podcasts. And so when people talk about, I can't get this, I go, are you podcasting? I know it sounds silly, but you got to do it just to do it. What are you doing on the social media? Just to get a little bit of that creativity out. Because stage time is really hard to come by here in Los Angeles. And
especially that club.
And then on top of it, quality stage time. It's very difficult.
Next to impossible.
Yeah, and I'm lucky.
Every time Dave Chappelle pulls up into the lot, which I love, he's a very nice guy. I think he's hilarious. I watch both of his specials. They're great. The second one he recorded in the Belly Room.
I haven't seen them yet.
They're good, really good. But when he pulls up, every audience member is like, fuck yeah. And every comic that's going on after him is like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a...
you've been thinking about doing your spot all day. You finally got a decent 11:30 Friday spot or something, and then Chappelle pulls in, and you're like, damn it. And he's still on stage. He goes on at 11, and he's still on stage at 2:30.
Yeah.
Well,
that must be luxurious to be able to walk into any comedy club in the world and be like, I'm next. And people will go, motherfucker, hell yeah, you are. You are absolutely next.
It's a good feeling. And I'm sure there's a bunch. There's a handful of comedians.
He's one of them.
He's one of them, and that's fine. I think that back in the day, you would hear.
He showed up at the Parlor the other night.
Well, he loves comedy.
I haven't had a spot there in a long time, and I was excited for this good spot.
Are you serious?
And then
you got bumped by Chappelle at the Parlor?
At the Parlor, and I'm like, you could go on at any club right now. You could Comedy Store, Improv, anywhere. You could pull up and go on in front of a packed audience, and you're coming to this shit, the fucking Parlor?
That's funny.
God damn it. And then after an hour, he came up to me, and I think it was Kate Quigley or Jackie Golden. Maybe they were both there. And I think they were both going on after me.
Right.
And he came up to all three of us. He's like, hey, you guys, I'm just going to rebook you. I don't think he's going to stop. I'm like, no shit, he's not going to stop. He never stops. He stops when they say last call or the police show up to get everybody out of the bar.
Get him out of the bar. Oh, interesting. You know some information. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just saying he'll go until the place is completely closed.
I mean, I was, and Candace, thank you very much for being a great listener. You're being very supportive.
I want to talk about this UFC with you, too.
You're a great mother. I'm really feeling good energy for your child.
Hey, thank you.
But yeah, Chappelle. Me personally, I haven't had too many. I mean, he's gone on a couple times in the main room, but never been like fully bumped. And maybe it's just something he's going through right now, getting these specials out. He's got to kind of crank it out and do that, possibly. But I've heard stories back in the day of like, say, Chappelle or Damon Wayans or even. I'm not putting these guys under the bus. I'm just saying, like, or Dice would do long sets on Sundays, or Eddie Griffin.
Eddie Griffin was very, very, very notorious for doing that.
Like, it's a bad.
He actually got banned because he wouldn't.
Well, it's just not good for
2 hours.
It's not good for morale, and it's unfair. You
can't do a 20-minute set.
You can't do that.
You guys are doing 2 hours.
Now, with the day of social media and comedians have a voice in that matter, that wouldn't happen today, where somebody's going to abuse the time like that. Because I remember I would get spots, on a Friday or Saturday. You couldn't really tell a friend to come because there was a 30% chance you were going to get bumped by Mencia or Eddie Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, wasn't good for morale, wasn't good for the club.
And it's like if they're doing that 3-4 nights a week, all of a sudden it's their comedy club. They're doing 2-hour sets 4 nights a week. That place is their club.
Well, they wonder why, like, the club was where it was. Like, people had these, their opinions of the Comedy Store. And that was probably, I mean, the fact that you're allowing that to go on doesn't look good. So that kind of stuff. But the Chappelle, maybe it's just he's putting out the specials. I get it, but yeah, when I've been lucky to not have cross paths too much with getting the stage time taken away. But he does bring people the idea, like, ooh, Chappelle might come in. It might bring people in, and once you get him in, they'll laugh at you too. But the fact that somebody does like an hour or 2 hours, and then if you're working there, and it's like, how long is it going to go? I could see how it might not be after a while.
But again, if you're in the audience, and you see Brody Stevens and then Mark Maron, and they go, who's next? And they go, Dave Chappelle. The place just goes nuts.
It does.
It's pretty cool.
It's cool.
It's cool to see that many people pleasantly. It's like a surprise party for 300 people at once, where they're like, oh my God, really? What? Wait, no way. It's cool to see that happen. But if you're going on after him, it's not the coolest thing to see.
Doesn't he go a couple times a week?
He's there a couple times a week, but he has a tendency to go on really late and just only basically bump Don and like Punky Johnson.
How does Don like that?
I think he takes it better than you think he would take it.
Yeah, shocker, actually.
But if he shows up in a bad mood and then that happens, then it's a house of cards.
How often has it happened where he's bumped on?
Maybe once a month, maybe.
Once a month.
It'll happen. Or he'll pull up and see Chappelle's car's there, and then he's like...
Just backs right out.
I don't think I'm going to stick around, pal.
And Chappelle's a nice guy. It's not like he's
super nice.
Friendly.
Nice to everybody. Super nice. I'm not bitching about it.
No, yeah.
I'm just saying that's a work hazard for stand-up comics in here. Just to your point of how hard it is to get good stage time in Hollywood, Los Angeles area.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it as a hazard if you want to break it down to those terms, or you could look at it as like, hey, I get to be around the aura of...
Totally true.
You're around the best. It's like somebody who is a kid, which is good and bad. Maybe got to hang around major leagues his whole life. So being around the top baseball players as a kid, maybe his dad was a player, and he's always in the clubhouse.
Like someone like a Larry Fitzgerald, where he was a ball boy for the Vikings all those years.
Right, and then when you get in there, it's no big deal. Yeah. It's no big deal. Like, you're not in awe of being in the stadium or being with these guys because you were there before. So when you're around Chappelle, it's like you've seen the best. You're around the best. You see how they are. You see everything around. It's a good education. And then also when you go, let's say you go on after Chappelle. Let's say you're performing, Chappelle's downstairs and you're upstairs. That's got to feel good that you're going, I'm performing at the same club with Dave Chappelle. That's the way. That's what I take with me. That's the confidence I take to me on stage. So I go on stage somewhere else at another club. I go, I'm untouchable because I just did the same club, not the same stage, the same club as Dave Chappelle. And does it matter? I mean, come on, maybe not, but that's the way I choose to look at it.
Yeah.
And again, if you want to, do I own a home? No. Do I have a child? No. Girlfriend? No. Car? No.
We have a lot in common.
But I think I do have a good I think people would say, Brody, you have a pretty good understanding of comedy. You might have figured out the algorithm, which I will not argue that. But that doesn't mean you're going to buy a home because people don't want to hear the truth. Well, reporting live from Tinfoil Hat.
Are you? Did you watch the fights?
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
I only saw the last two, though.
You saw Cyborg.
Yeah, I saw Cyborg.
Put Holly home through a car wreck.
Well, I thought Holly did really well.
I thought she did really well, too. Do you see how her nose started to, like, grow a new nose up here?
I said to my dad she looked like Sloth afterwards. Did she not? She lost teeth.
Ooh.
She has, like, no teeth on her left side right now.
Really?
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, she got hit.
I watched it on Periscope.
Did you?
Yeah.
That seems to be a thing people do.
It seemed people were pretty happy with the fight, like no 50-50, like the fighters respected each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they had any bad blood.
No. Yeah, I think they get along. They did that movie together a while ago.
Can anybody beat Cyborg? No.
No, but she usually, like, plummets through people, so I thought Holly did well to go all 5 rounds with her.
And she stuck her a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's just, she just doesn't stop coming forward.
Yeah.
Just like Khabib.
He is crazy. You just, like, can't do anything to him.
He
just
nuts.
Gets you on the ground and beats you up, and that's what he does to everybody.
Oh, he did it domestic? Okay, I got a problem with that.
Yeah. She had to come into her. I mean, he took incredible kicks to the body that would have folded just about anybody.
Yeah.
And Khabib just keeps coming. He would just, like, dust it off and just keep walking. I mean, he just doesn't stop coming forward.
Yeah.
He's like a close talker that you keep moving back from, and then he keeps coming right in your face.
I want to see him beat up Conor. It'd be so funny.
I'm going to see somebody beat up Conor.
It'd be so funny.
McGregor did post a funny Instagram photo.
After that?
I don't know when it was, but it was, I guess Mayweather had piped off a little bit about how easy that fight was or something. So he had an image that looked Photoshop of Mayweather standing there in the boxing ring with his gloves on, and Conor about ready to spin kick him right in the neck. And he goes, "You put rules to this fight that kept you out of a funeral home."
He usually does.
Wait, who put that in?
He's like one shin to the face, and you're done. He's like, the rules of this fight kept you out of a funeral home.
That's what McGregor said.
Yeah. Because he couldn't kick, he couldn't wrestle. It was just strictly boxing.
That is a little.
He's like, if we fought the other way, I would have fucking fucked you up.
Would he have?
Oh, in a minute.
So then, what's the
1 minute or less?
So today, what's the takeaway on Mayweather versus McGregor? I mean, it happened, and now we look back on it.
I think everybody thinks it was a kind of a circus.
Yeah.
But they weren't. I feel
it didn't feel competitive to me. I was watching it kind of like, it's like if you saw, like, some high school kid playing basketball against Michael Jordan. You're like, if he wins, he gets $1 billion. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying,
everybody would watch and be like, God, I hope this little kid can do it. You can't.
But in terms of the whole spectacle and looking back on it, yeah, it was a little bit of a circus, but the fight itself, like, was okay, meaning, like, they felt like McGregor did a pretty good job. It wasn't unentertaining. It wasn't, It wasn't a debacle.
I think my main problem with it is that it was ultimately meaningless. Because it wasn't UFC versus boxing, because there was no UFC, or MMA versus boxing, because there was no MMA aspect to it whatsoever. So it really was, can a jiu-jitsu guy box one of the best boxers of all time?
Yes.
You know, he can. Can he beat him? No. No.
Well, that's why they did it. That's why they did it. But he did get a couple shots in. He held his own on a few rounds, and he got gassed. That's what they said.
That's exactly what he did.
He did pretty
He got
good.
completely gassed.
But that's what I'm getting at. Looking back on it, it wasn't a sham. Meaning, like, even like who was it? John Bones Jones when he fought Cormier. You know, at Anaheim, and he came out of retirement. He beat him up, and it was the biggest thing ever. And then you find out, oh, he was on drugs. Then you look back at that day, and it was a sham. I went to Anaheim. I went to that. I took
Were you
photos.
at it?
I was certainly there, and I had.
I took photos.
Why certainly?
Well,
why is that a given that you would be at that?
I geotag all my photos.
Oh, okay.
I was
So do I.
I was invited. I was a guest of somebody, and I was there sitting near Steve O. The Rock was there, and it was UFC at Anaheim, and it was about the buzz in the crowd was the return of John Bones Holmes.
Jones.
And that's what I was there for. I saw the hype. I saw the build-up.
He's somebody that could have been great. Maybe he will. I mean, he's still young. Maybe he'll get his shit together someday. But he's somebody that should have just been dominant for his entire career.
Yeah, and I was into the story. He's from New Mexico. My grandmother was born and raised in New Mexico. I'm getting emotional thinking about this. And the fight happens.
You know, both of his brothers are in the NFL.
Joneses? Mm-hmm. Who are his brothers?
One plays for the Patriots, and I forget where the other one.
Well, check them
might
too.
Be the
They're
Bills.
big.
Might be the Bills.
Okay. I think I heard
That's an athletic
that.
family,
And that's a good thing.
Do they have it more together than he does?
I mean, you never hear about them getting in trouble.
Well, I mean, even if I did, I wouldn't read it. I wouldn't know who they
So
were.
it's not like Michael and Marcus Vick.
But what I'm getting at
He's
is
not related to Pac-Man Jones.
What's that?
Oh.
He's not related to Pac-Man.
Not in the least bit.
There you go. I like that one. And I Instagram videoed it. I put photos up. I had to go back and delete it. I mean, it's shame. And it was a sham. The guy was on drugs, and it was a waste of my time looking at it back now. Whereas McGregor, Mayweather, I don't think it was a waste of time. It did its job. It brought attention. It was entertaining to a certain point. The guy ran out of gas, but overall, it wasn't a sham. It wasn't an embarrassment. What happened to me in Anaheim that day? That wasn't an embarrassment. I had a photo that had 176 likes.
That's pretty good.
And I had to delete it. And that's one of the worst feelings. I wouldn't wish that.
You deleted the photo just because of the performance-enhancing drugs?
Yes. And I wouldn't wish that feeling upon my worst enemy.
Wow. That's incredible. Who does Khabib fight next? It's got to be Ferguson, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only fight that makes sense. That's going to be a fucking hell of a fight.
Connor usually does troll them after, so I thought maybe he did because he trolled Ferguson when he just won.
Yeah, I think he tweeted something about it.
He always acts like
he
he's
tweeted
not
something
fighting
about
either
your
one of them.
bitch-ass fight or something. He said something about his... wasn't even a fucking fight or something.
He should tweet like in the middle of a fight, like in the ring, right during when he's in between rounds. You can do that. They can press it, put it on the talk, and then he'll go, "This is Conor McGregor. I'm gonna kick your ass."
I'm actually surprised
see
they
him do
don't
that.
do that with him. Yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't.
Hashtag Irish flag. Send. And then send it.
Boom.
He didn't touch it. He just talked it. Like uses Shazam.
You can use your phones in a dugout. Can you?
I don't think so.
You know, you can't in the NFL.
You can't.
You get fined. You get fined if any player tweets during a game or is seen even using their phones or posts anything in any social media from before kickoff until after the press conference.
Yeah, I mean, baseball
you have
players.
to stay
A
off. And
couple
I think it's
guys,
because of cheating. They're worried about cheating and all different kind of weird things.
well, it's cheating. It could look bad. There was a baseball couple guys who liked photos during games of hot chicks. It's like, but the players during a baseball game, you go in the clubhouse for if you're not playing, you'll go back there for an inning and do something. And maybe you go to the bathroom, go check their phone. Oh, this chick's hot. You know, like it. Well, the game's going on. It happens.
I think there's also a element of it too that it's like the product placement. Like, oh, Tom Brady is using an iPhone, and the NFL's not making any money from Apple for that.
I mean, what does he say? Does Tom Brady say this is tweeted from an iPhone?
No, but I'm saying if they got a shot of Tom Brady on the sidelines, and I'm looking at him, and he's,
on his
iPhone and showing Gronk, and Gronk's laughing. That's a fucking goddamn Apple commercial right there. If I was Apple, I would crop Tom Brady and Gronk looking at an iPhone, laughing and enjoying life.
They can't use that footage, but I like that. But they use iPads in the dugouts. All the Major League Baseball teams, they have iPads right there. They're allowed to look at their
the
at-bats.
Surface, the Surface, is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's for the NFL.
Yeah, NFL has that, and they all use those because they have a deal with them.
And baseball has
You won't
iPads.
see okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I mean,
but I didn't know if you could sit in a dugout because you can't really see a lot of the time of the guys in the dugout if they're in there fucking around on.
No, you're not supposed to be in the dugout.
Instagram
It's
or some shit.
but I'm sure it does happen. And players,
Mark Sanchez had a hot dog on the sidelines. It was a huge fucking deal. Remember?
I do remember that. Yeah, that was a huge. He had to hide the fact that he was eating it.
Yeah, you can't do that. Doesn't look right. And also, some players used to smoke. Some would smoke. Managers would. I remember.
Totally.
I went.
Football players used to smoke.
When I worked in Seattle, when I was an intern there, I went down to the Mariner game in the 7th inning, and Lou Piniella. I went down by the clubhouse, and then near the dugout. Lou Piniella was in uniform during the game, smoking a cigarette underneath the stadium where I was at. I just talked to him during the game. He's smoking a cigarette. The manager of the Mariners. It was a delay, there was some delay on the field. So
what's some of the weirdest stuff that you've seen? And I'm talking about Major League Baseball because you know a lot of the guys. You get to come around, have some positive energy for them. Weird things you see people doing in dugouts, like, this guy's always eating Twizzlers, or this guy's has to have a slice of pizza at the 3rd inning, or anything like that.
No, I don't see anything.
Like Marshawn Lynch has that thing with Skittles, and you always have players that kind of get stuck on one little.
Not really. Everyone's got their rituals. I know that. Coaches, they set up where put their towels out. Like Chris Bosio, the former Cub pitching coach, he had his little ritual, putting out all this stuff and where they sit and handshakes and. I try, me personally, when I played, even to this day, I kind of don't have those. I don't really do those rituals. I do a checklist. I'll do a mental checklist. Got this, got that. Breathe, good, go. But
is it Charles Haley? Remember Charles Haley? Used to be a 49er and a Cowboy defensive end.
Yeah, he has 5 rings. He was a shot putter also.
That's exactly right. They said that he would have to masturbate before games.
Oh, I heard that because he was so excited.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's theories on that.
Or if it's just getting that energy out or something, or I don't know.
No, there's I've done that. One time I did masturbate before a game, and it took a couple miles off my fastball.
Did it really?
Yeah, and I vowed to never masturbate in a public restroom ever again.
Make you more tired.
It can, right?
Yeah.
So you got to channel that testosterone.
You feel relaxed after you orgasm.
I would think that maybe he was just too jacked up or something. I need to calm down.
Yeah, there's guys who take alcohol before. They said, Lawrence Taylor would be drunk. He'd be smelling alcohol in his breath.
Josh Gordon said there was never a game where he wasn't drinking before it.
Yeah, there's
and
guys
during it.
Think about the NBA. Those guys are smoking pot back in the day, doing cocaine and all that stuff. The baseball guys are doing cocaine to help you play better.
The NFL of the 60s, 70s, and of course 80s when cocaine. You heard everybody was getting in trouble for cocaine. Even people that didn't do coke did coke back then.
Yeah.
You either had a coke problem or you're like, I'll do it if it's around. That was pretty much the culture of cocaine in the 80s.
Yeah.
Nobody saw any bad side effects from it yet.
So
yet.
So what's the deal now? Do you think that sports nutrition is just, it's better? They've kind of
I think there's gotten way more. There's more of a science to all of it.
Yeah.
Versus a recreational sort of. We're having fun and we're traveling around and fuck it and we're gonna live forever. I think now you see that that's not the case. But what you see now is it's all this pharmaceutical shit. It's all of the. I recently. Went and had my heart checked out and did this whole extensive thing. Bad hearts in my family. My mom just had a heart attack. She's fine. Everything's good. But that kind of got me thinking oh shit, maybe I better get my shit checked out. I haven't been kind to my spacesuit in the 45 years I've been around.
I just saw you smoke 2 cigarettes outside before
I'll
we
kill
started
you.
the show.
I'll kill you. So I was like, fuck it. Let me just get this all checked out. And what was interesting, just as far as pharmaceuticals go, they send you your results, and then you get to your blood pressure. And it's like you have hypertension. So I'm talking to one of my moms. It's more science related. She worked in the medical industry most of her career, and I go, "Hey, is this really hypertension?" She's like, "What were your numbers?" I tell her. She's like, "Oh no, you're totally fine." She's like, "The pharmaceutical industry lobbies to all of the governing bodies that will set those standards. Like if it's between this number and this number, that's hypertension, because now you have to go talk to your doctor and look into taking hypertension meds."
Right. That's what it's. Yeah. They want you.
Well, 2 years ago when the numbers were higher, but they lobbied and had them lower the numbers. Yeah. So you are at an earlier age in your life, you'll start taking all these hypertension meds.
Yeah, I like to be natural. I've seen results on supplements, supplements for your hair, your skin, your nails, your lungs, your cartilage, your brain. I'm currently taking an alpha, a nutraceutical right now. I'm so clear-minded. I take apple cider vinegar. Look how lean I am. People always go, "Brody, you're so ripped." Well, I take apple cider vinegar. Your diet must be so clean. I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken and Burger King yesterday. And
in the same car ride, KFC.
Essentially, yes.
Uh-huh.
I had KFC before the show and Burger King after, and I'm proud to say I support American companies. I also do take, I think the apple cider vinegar is really, diet does matter, but you got to walk, stretch, and I take nitric oxide. That's another one I get a big pump on.
What does that do for you?
That opens up the veins. Now, you're talking about heart disease. I look into that, too. I have heart disease in my family. Mm-hmm. My mother, my father. I have high cholesterol, things of those nature. You take nitric oxide, it opens up your veins and then allows for the blood to pump through and then break off that plaque on your arteries. It's clearing up your circulation, your blood flow. And a result of that, a byproduct is you get that pump. People take nitric oxide before they exercise. So you get that pump, and then you do the work, and you have that pump the rest of the day. But you could also just take L-arginine, which is the precursor for nitric oxide. So I take that, and after about 30 minutes, I get a little pump. Look at my veins. I'm pretty ripped. And I can also go based off, hey, I go out at night, and people go, hey, you look good. And I go, it's just posture. And I'm seeing the results of it, and it feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You got to do it for yourself, but it does feel good to have people notice that you're in good shape. Hey, you look good. I don't know. And I try to tell them you could do it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think visualization, walking. I can't tell them how to buy a car, have a girlfriend, a dog, a child, or Prius.
Or own a home.
But I can tell them how to, have a little bit of a pump and lose inches off your waist.
That sounds great.
Without exercising.
Wow.
I haven't done cardio.
Really? You don't do cardio anymore?
I'm not really, and I've been able to maintain.
That's impressive.
I haven't done cardio, and I eat whatever I want, and I'm still at about 210 pounds.
Are you saying this is all apple cider vinegar? That's all I need to do?
I'm saying this is apple cider vinegar. It's also colon cleanse. I do take fiber. And that's really about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to stop the podcast right now, we can do that, and I can sell you a case. Trunk of my car.
Speaking of the pharmaceutical companies, guys, I'll tell you how you could get a home, win a lot of money at our good friends at BetDSI.com. Go to BetDSI.com, use the code PUNCHDRUNK, and that gets you, no, PUNCH25. Use the code PUNCH25, that gets you 25 free bucks to gamble with. Now's the time. NFL playoffs starting soon. I'm saving the reverse Kobayashi conversation for when Ari calls in.
Is he calling?
Yeah, he's
It's
calling
almost
in.
done. I really feel
No,
like they're
said he was-
dodging you.
Said he was calling it. Well, we know why he's dodging me.
Yeah.
But use the code PUNCH25. That gets you 25 bucks to gamble with. Falcons probably going to lose to the Rams. Man, I don't know about a lot of these games. But I tell you what, now's the time to do a parlay. Put a parlay on every single NFL playoff game this week and throw in, hopefully, Georgia beating Alabama. Congratulations to Sarah Tiana and Jerron, my two friends that are big Georgia supporters. That was a very exciting Rose Bowl. We'll talk about that as well. But if I was you, that's what I would do. I'd use the code PUNCH25, and I would take that 25 bucks, and I would bet every wild card weekend game, and I would bet on Georgia beating Alabama. Why not? Why not? They'll be the underdog, I believe. Won't they, or was Alabama the 4? Well, go to BetDSI.com and use the
Do you
code.
think Johnny listens to this and he's like, God, they need me?
I know. We do miss Johnny. And that will get you started. They have all kinds of prop bets. They have all kinds of everything on there. So if you like the excitement of winning money, and if you're cool with the fact that you may lose money, please see our friends at BetDSI.com. Thank you for that.
Is football season over?
Football season is red zone wrapped.
Are you sad?
It's always bittersweet when it's done. I love that job, but when we get to about week 13, week 14, you could see the wear and tear on everybody. You know, it's kind of like, damn, man, how many more Sundays, you know? But so this first Sunday will be the first Sunday in the last 20 Sundays where I can just do whatever, where I don't have to get up at 7 or whatever. So it'll be weird. First couple ones are weird. Teeb won the Comedy Store Fantasy Football League. Thank you very much. So sorry, Adam. So sorry, Tripoli. So sorry, everybody else. But my name's on the trophy again. You can see it at the back bar. If you're ever at the Comedy Store, just look right behind Rose, the beautiful bartender, or Toby, the other guy that's there. And you can see it. That it is right there. Teeb, the Falcoholics. Congratulations to the guy that won the Punch Drunk one. And that was fun. The 14-team league thing was fun. And auction, maybe we'll do an auction next year. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But congrats to the Punch Drunk fantasy winner. Everybody, if you won or lost in fantasy, I'm sorry. But fantasy football is over. And that's the one that hurts. Fantasy football hurts because throughout the week, if you're playing fantasy football and you're bored, or you're sitting on the toilet, or you're in a bus, or you're in an Uber, or you're at an airport, you can kind of sit around and dick around with your fantasy football team for 15 or 20 minutes, you know? And now when it's gone, I always have this ritualistic thing where I just delete both my fantasy apps, and I'll get them next year.
So it stops right when the regular season stops. Is there is there postseason fantasy football?
Yeah, there's all kinds of little things like that you can do. One that's pretty fun is like, you know, you get not as many people in the league, and you just draft everybody that's left. And when your players are gone, you just get them crossed off. And whoever has the most total points at the end of the Super Bowl, just total points as a team. So you're kind of trying to predict, you want guys that are going to be around. Sure, you know, Le'Veon Bell's a great running back. But let's say you don't think the Steelers are going to make it past the first round. You only get 1 week of games from that guy, and then he's eliminated. Julio Jones, if the Rams beat the Falcons, which they probably will, if the Rams beat the Falcons and you have Julio Jones, sure, top 2 receivers in the NFL. But if he gets bounced week 1, you know, and let's say you think the Rams are going to go far. Well, Goff has probably like a lot more potential. You know, that's always a fun one to do. Did you watch the Rose Bowl?
No, I missed it. I wanted to, and I heard it was a great game.
One for the ages.
Double overtime.
Double overtime.
Did you not have to be a
Highest-
football fan to appreciate it?
Absolutely not. Highest scoring Rose Bowl ever.
Better than the USC-Texas game?
It's right up there, man. That one was sexy because it was LA. USC was in it.
Yeah.
Even though they lost, that team was very, Reggie Bush. Half that team fucked the Kardashians eventually.
Liner.
They had a great team, that team. And then for them to lose in that dramatic
Vince
fashion, Vince Young on that scramble. This was similar to that. But, Georgia was down most of the game and just crazy interceptions. It's tied, and they're kicking a field goal to...
Don't tell me I TiVo'd it.
You want to bet on the game?
I should have watched it, but honestly, it was like, we were rocking out the night before.
We were rocking out the night before.
I didn't get to bed until close till, 4 or 5. And then I got up, and it's like...
I got home the next day.
Oh, you didn't get up until... What'd you do after the gig? Did you guys go out?
Yeah, a bunch of us went out.
Oh, tell me after the show.
Yeah, probably. But, yeah, I got home the next day, and I was like, oh, shit, the game's on. Turned it on. Georgia's already getting blown out. And I was like, man, that sucks. Then I kind of like fell asleep a little bit during the game.
Yeah.
Wake up, and it's a 1-touchdown game with like 2 minutes left. I'm like, oh, shit, this is going to be close. Tie, double overtime. Georgia blocks a field goal in double overtime.
Wow.
That would have gotten beat, and then scores on pretty much the next play.
So yeah, I woke up at...
And Tiana was at the game, which makes me so happy. I love when my friends
Georgia.
When my friends go to sporting events for their team that they love.
Yeah.
And then I watched like a crazy, like I've seen Sam at NBA games where I'm like, oh shit, that was a crazy, half court shot, and I knew he was there.
Yeah.
That's always cool. So I was rooting for them, just for Tiana and Jerron. They were both there.
They were both there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I woke up and I saw the Rose Parade. So I thought it was just halftime at the game. I was like watching the bands on the Rose Parade, and I went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And I didn't wake up until too late because I thought this joke would be better.
The other game, was boring.
There's a joke there.
The other game was boring, I thought.
What was it? Sugar Bowl?
Alabama and who did they play? Clemson.
I think that the Rose Bowl, the weather, the pageantry,
they have that down.
Yeah, exactly. And it was
Now,
sunny.
You do not want to be in Pasadena anytime near the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Even if there's a huge concert there, because the Rose Bowl is a huge venue.
100,000 seats, pretty
and
much.
That's 2 times the size of the city I grew up in.
Let me do the math.
Yeah.
46?
Something like that, yep.
What's 46 plus 46?
92.
There you go.
Right.
You play the 4-6 defense.
Yep, 4-6 defense. So if you live anywhere near that, and so if there's a concert at the Rose Bowl, it's U2. It's somebody huge.
Wango Tango,
It's
Metallica.
It's not going to be, it's going to be somebody.
Depeche Mode.
The entire city is fucked, traffic-wise.
Tom Petty, they played there a couple years
My
ago.
best friend lives right there.
By the.
Yeah, and they block the streets off so you can't park there because it's so crazy.
Oh yeah,
the
you have
cops
to.
do, yeah.
But they do that over by the Hollywood Bowl too.
Yeah, right. It's
Tripoli
the exact
lives
same
near
thing.
that thing where you're just like, man, when that.
But I lived close to the Rose Bowl growing up, so I know all about it too. We would walk there all the time to watch the parade.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, the Arroyo Seco. I drive by there on the 210 freeway. I go through there quite a bit, and I always lock eyes with the Rose Bowl sign because, first of all, it looks beautiful when you when you glance going over the bridge and you can see it, and then you just think of all the history. I think what comes to mind for me is the Rams and the Steelers at Super Bowl, where the Steelers beat the Rams. It was 1980.
There's been a few Super Bowls there.
And,
a few Super Bowls there.
But that one really hurt. I was a Ram fan. Can you imagine, like the Rams?
That was also where Michael Jackson did halftime of one of the, not that Super Bowl, but I'm saying at the Rose Bowl.
Did he do it at the Rose
really?
Bowl? The Michael Jackson?
I think
It may
that
have
was
been.
where he came popping up at the top, and then he
Yeah.
popped over here. You didn't know which one was the real one.
But the Rose Bowl is so iconic. You think about it, every New Year's Day, it being sunny and 100,000 people. For everybody who would go, oh, LA's not a football town or this and that. And then you think of that stadium. Now they have a lot of other stadiums that have over 100,000 people. But back in the day, that thing held like 105 before they renovated it. And just have it be beautiful. And you had the pride of the Rose Bowl. And they still have it. Like they still have kept the tradition of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think Pasadena, look at the Ice House. Great club. Pasadena.
I like Pasadena, actually.
Pasadena is a city that gets it. It's a city that has, I'm going to say it,
I love the Ice House.
conservative values.
Yeah.
Great staff.
I'm going on record saying Pasadena has conservative values. And that being said, Pasadena is one of the great communities here in Los Angeles, and they have their own police force, their own school system. They do it their own way. And the Rose Bowl is a great stadium, and they also have the Jackie Robinson statue. No, they just did a Dodger, but Jackie Robinson is from Pasadena, and also Einstein lived there. Pasadena is a little secret. It's a little nugget that people don't want. It's like the Valley. People don't want you to know about it.
Right. People don't want you to know about the Valley?
Oh, yeah.
Why is this?
I mean, when you grew up, what was your feeling towards the Valley? Like, that's where the riffraff lives? That's where people from the other side of the tracks live?
Well, I didn't really know much because I grew up in the Midwest, but you did know these terms, Valley Girl or whatever. I just thought it was just like a big valley that had a lot of malls in it.
Well, that's correct. But people, you saw Karate Kid, right? Everyone saw it.
Of course.
It changed your life. And also,
I was absolutely in love with Elizabeth Shue.
There you go. But the shoe fits.
And then remember when she was in Cocktail? So hot in that.
Oh, put my cock in a shoe any day. I did a. Yeah, Don was doing we were talking about like a foot fetish, and they said, "Oh, so Brody, you put you masturbated into a sock or a sandal," and I go, "Yeah, hashtag me shoe." They got a big laugh. Hashtag me shoe.
Not too shabby. Me shoe.
No, but no, that's a sushi place. I'll take the me shoe. No, just people always would put down the Valley. It's hot out there. Karate Kid, when also just people from Santa Monica or people from even Taft High School putting down. I went to Reseda High School. That is like considered, people, the armpit of the Valley, they would say, like Reseda or Van Nuys or what have you. And I just remember that. And I also would hear people just putting down the 818, just in the periphery of my consciousness. So, and then these same people were just very opinionated on things. And I go, well, I live in the Valley. You're wrong, So I always had that chip on my shoulder, like protecting the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I just always felt like people put the Valley down, but all the productions, they have their offices out here. It's like Burbank. People, Burbank, but all the shows are out here because same thing with Pasadena. It's like people, they like it that way. What I'm getting at is,
if you take away that Sunset Gower Studios, it's pretty sprawling. Actually, we're kind of near where we used to be. We were on the Melrose side over there. But if you take that out of Hollywood,
yeah,
Burbank looks like what you think Hollywood would look like. Burbank is just filled with studios every which way you look.
Yeah,
Hollywood doesn't really look like what you think Hollywood would be,
no.
other than Sunset Gower, which is a sprawling studio right there. There's not that many. CBS over there by the Grove.
Television City.
But that's TV. I'm talking about the big actual studios. They're all in the Valley.
I mean, you have Paramount over there, and you have...
Yeah, but that's just the backside of Sunset Gower.
Yeah, you're right. It's like we were talking the other night about comedy clubs, how Flappers out here in Burbank, people, it's not on, people don't really...
I don't like that club.
No, well, there you go. That's what we were talking about. And I said,
But it's not because it's Burbank or in the Valley.
But here was my theory. It could be, because here's the other thing. Just because all the shows are out here, all the production offices, a lot of the, there's always shoots going on here in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at night you don't want to be here for comedy. You work here all day. That's why there's not a lot of nightlife in the Valley, because they're working here in the Valley, using our positive energy to be creative, to get your TV shows done that you crap on the Valley about. But you come out here and use our positive energy because we get it. And then at night you want to go back to Hollywood or go back to the West Side or go to Manhattan Beach.
Well, if you live on the West Side, you ain't going to the Valley, and you ain't going to Burbank, and you ain't going to Pasadena.
I come here from the West Side, that's why I'm always late.
It's just a long haul.
It is.
Look what coming here got you.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not. I mean,
Super
I've
late.
been listening to a lot of tinfoil lately and hanging out with Sam, so he kind of like appreciates these thoughts. But there's just some truth to that.
When you're on the road with Sam and you're in the car, is he making you listen to his podcast?
That'd be awful.
No. Sam is the only my complaint about Sam with the driving is like too much on the brake. It's like when you're in the car with Sam, you're like you're inside Sam. You're like it's like Tron. You're in him. So
That's perfect.
the car.
Him and Johnny. Johnny works for the show. Yeah, you've seen him around. Good guy. And so anytime like Sam and Johnny and I will hang out, or when we drove to Phoenix together for the All Things Comedy Podcast Festival, or we'll go to a Clipper game or whatever we do together. Johnny's like, dude, I literally will get car sick. You have to let me drive, or I'll drive separately. And he's like, bro, it's stupid to take two cars. He's like, dude, I will throw up in your car because you hit the brakes too much.
Yeah,
bro,
that's all he does.
You're too sensitive, bro.
It's constant brakes.
You're too sensitive.
Checking the phone, constant
I
brakes.
think it's a lot to do with the phone. Like he just won't get off his phone.
Yeah, because that's it. I call it his office when he's in there, because that's when he's on his phone the most, is when he's driving. I saw him one time. We were going to a Clipper game. I was in the back seat. Johnny's in the front seat because Johnny can't sit in the back seat or he'll get car sick because he doesn't like Sam's herky jerky thing. I'm looking over, because I'm in the back. I can see that Sam Tripoli, who is driving, he is the one driving, is making a flyer for for a comedy show coming up.
Making a flyer,
adding filters to it. You know what I mean, like stuff like that. And I was like, we're driving downtown Los Angeles, heading to the Staples Center, and you're in the middle of making a flyer with all these one-way streets go. You know how downtown is. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. The guy's productive.
Yeah, he is productive. He got me there. I did not feel. I mean, when we left Austin. Well, first of all, going there, he was. He made it, but he had some issues.
Did you guys
with the
fly there and then rent a car and then drive everywhere?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
So the flight there, Sam, he made it, but he was a little delayed on something. I made it. We were supposed to be on the same flight. We weren't because that just wasn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a little mistake there, but he made it, no problem. And then got into all the Airbnbs, no problem. And then leaving, the line was super long. He had to check on a bag, but he got in. So, there was a couple times where I thought, this ain't going to happen. Like, he's not going to make the show, or he's not going to make this flight, and he made it. And the driving, it's like, at least he admits it. He goes, yeah, I pressed the pedal.
That's a lot of moving parts, too, doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and
you doing it yourself, you book it yourself, you got to get there to this, that, to this, to that, to
yeah,
this.
and he did a great job. That's what like the Airbnbs, they were comfortable, they weren't crap holes, and the guys were well behaved. Nobody was like annoying. We all got pretty much along for the moment. We did get along, and went to some cool food places. That's a good, being on the road. You'll go out to a local diner, or you'll get just talk, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I would like to do it again. We didn't make a ton of money, but it was also just for the experience, to get away and also see about, hey, we can do some more of this kind of stuff.
And, get those relationships with those clubs. That a lot of times that's how even if you don't come back with something like that, they're like, oh, we like Brody. He's a nice guy. We'll have him come out and headline some other time or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you, Sam, you guys get it. You get it. And a lot of it's just organic. Let it happen organically.
Right.
Be in it to win it. Have fun. Chill. Relax.
Yeah, don't go against the current.
Exactly.
Positive
push. I'm doing hypnotism on you right now.
Speaking of going against the current, Ari, we're going to go ahead and call this a no-show for Ari. So we're going to give him one no-show.
I knew that was going to happen.
Well, he said he was going to call.
Where is he at? New York?
Who knows with this guy? I believe so.
Sober
But he
today?
also might be on the road with his tour thing that he's got going on.
Last time he was on, he was high on mushrooms from like 10 hours before and hadn't slept yet and was really tripping out still.
Oh, wow.
I just got one text from Ari on Sunday after Cowboys lost the first game. Isn't that right? The Cowboys lost. Ari was pretty effed.
Were you guys all texting each other?
Not just Ari and I.
Okay.
Because Sam's already out.
Okay.
Sam already lost. So he couldn't do anything.
So two people have to do hot dogs on their ass. I didn't know that. I thought it was just one.
No, and it easily could have just been one.
Oh, okay.
Whoever was supposed to do it, but then they insisted when we were doing the first going over this whole thing. They insisted, no, if there's just one winner, everybody else has to lose.
Okay.
So then Sam was having the argument, if there's any which way there's a tie, nobody has to do it. Which that is definitely not what we said.
Yeah.
That is the opposite of what we said it was going to be. But we don't have to worry about that, ladies and gentlemen, because the Dallas Cowboys screwed Ari over so hardcore. And then, on top of it, the Falcons win.
Ari gets all the shitty bets.
Well, I'm happy that Ari did because Ari will do it.
Ari will do it, and I think his asshole can handle a lot.
Did they do it already? The
No. We gotta hammer all this out. No.
hammer it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my gosh!
I was talking to
Is it one frozen dog,
One pack of hot
two
dogs.
guys?
one. Oh no, they each get their own dog.
Oh, they don't share. It's not double-ended.
No.
And Sam
But
wants a condom on his.
I think they should be able to dress it, condiment-wise, any which way that they want.
Well, they should. It'll help it slide in.
But it might sting.
Yeah.
Mustard could
Yeah.
have.
Like a spicy mustard.
Oh, I'm just like into
Maybe
yellow
some-
mustard. I'm a mustard guy.
So am I.
Mustard is the root beer of condiments.
I agree with you. And you know what? I'm not a ketchup guy whatsoever. I almost
Ketchup's
never use
overdone.
ketchup.
I'm getting sick of ketchup. That's why people have moved on to siracha or,
Yeah, I like sriracha.
or queso
You
sauce.
do love sriracha.
But people started taking ketchup for granted.
Yeah, I think, but I think it's a little overrated.
Sriracha to the asshole would feel good. We should do that to Ari's.
Oh, hello.
I don't think it would.
I'm joking. Can you imagine that on Ari's bloody asshole?
Oh,
Just got graphic.
God. Holy mackerel. Ugh. I almost went a whole episode without making that face or that sound. I almost did it. I almost made it an entire episode without going, ugh.
We're going to have to pin Sam down to get this.
I think Sam's going to like this more than he thinks. I'm positive Ari's going to like it.
Like it.
Uh-huh. Dude, I may still do it just for the bro time. I may still do it just for camaraderie. And like I've said before, I've been practicing a lot. And now I feel like I've been wasting all these hot dogs. You should see the trash can next to my bed. Just filled to the brim with frozen hot dogs. Some of them broken off.
Good.
Some of them broken off. Some of them not.
Do you guys ever get pushback on some of these bets?
What
Like,
do you
will
mean?
somebody say, "Oh, you can't do that. That's wrong, or that's offensive"? Or...
Not really.
No.
I mean, usually for the most part, they're not as horrific.
You're doing that tranny walk and no one's offended?
Yeah, but like I say, I do that shit all the time anyway. You know,
Did you do the tranny walk already?
No, not yet. But people, it can get offensive. I mean,
Like
Sam
meaning-
wants to follow. I think we have different opinions of how these could be funny. You know what I mean? Like, I think it can be shot and be funny of me walking around in there interacting with these other, tranny prostitutes. I think
Yeah.
I can make that funny. I think Sam walking behind me with a bullhorn screaming how much for a hand job every time a car goes by might not be as funny.
Yeah.
That might lose a little bit if it's universal appeal.
No, but I'm saying, like, could you?
Me wearing a shock collar, and every time I laugh, I get buzzed, and you guys fit, and the room is filled with all my favorite funny people. If it's Dennis O'Neill and Gareth and Theo here,
Oh my
and I'm
God,
trying
that'd
so
be
hard
so
not to
fun.
laugh,
Yeah, that'd be so fun.
and every time I laugh, I get shocked. I think that could be funny. I think that'd be funny to listen to. I think Sam holding a taser on my nuts for 2 straight
Did that
hours
happen?
is a war crime.
Did that happen?
I think if we found out that Iran was doing that to prisoners, if we found out Iran was doing that to prisoners, the United Nations would fucking do something about it because it's torture.
Wow.
Let's
look
see
who
if-
called.
Who's that, Ari?
Ladies and gentlemen, Ari, can you hear us?
Yeah.
What's up, Ari? You're here with Fight Nanny, her half of a child, and Aaron and Brody Stevens.
You got it.
You got it.
Well, that's cool. Love you, Brody. I wanted to call in and say really happy for you, Fight Nanny, and go fuck yourself, Jason.
Ari, now, we were just talking about Wondering what kind of condiments you're going to be putting on your hot dog.
I'm going to surprise you and go relish.
Relish. Relish isn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relish is actually like soothing. It might actually
Kind of cool the.
Yeah, like an aloe kind of.
Yeah, because all
Yeah,
it
maybe
is.
they have an aloe relish. Yeah, maybe they have an aloe relish. I'll look into that.
Yeah, see if they got an aloe relish. I think that'll be good. Now.
It was a Seattle game, man. It was a Seattle game. We had it. We outplayed Seattle so well and then lost. So fucking annoying.
I mean, it was a very luxurious predicament for me because I couldn't technically lose. Yeah.
Yeah, you clinched.
You could tie, or you could lose. And I did, working at Red Zone that whole day and watching your game, and then I was kind of like, I was going back and forth on whether I wanted you to lose or I wanted you to win, and then Sam just lose.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sam had already clinched the loss, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be the funniest if he does it himself, but it's also like funny if I do it too. But man, that'd be funny if he did it himself.
Yeah, that would be funny. But overall, just based on your harassing texts that you had been sending me all week, I came up to the conclusion, no, I want this idiot to get a hot dog in his ass.
Well, you're a piece of shit.
Oh, it was so good, dude. And the Falcons make the playoffs, and I won the Comedy Store Fantasy League. It was a great football weekend for me. How was your football weekend?
Awful.
How was your football weekend,
I mean,
Eric?
Cowboys won, I guess. They beat a fucking dead in the water Eagles team.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a number one seed be that, like, worthless?
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, everybody wants to play them more than any wild card.
Well, that happened last year with the Raiders. I mean, when the Raiders were firing on all cylinders a year ago. I mean, they were top 4 teams probably heading into the playoffs, and then the last week, Derek Carr breaks his foot, and they were. I mean, they got bounced that first week. They were done.
And speaking of firing, that's what the Raiders did. They fired Jack Del Rio because it looks like John Gruden is on their short list of potential head coaches. Reporting live for all things comedy.
People say it's a done deal.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a done deal, Ari.
My sources are telling me that.
It sounds like it's a done
I'm
deal.
hoping he went to the Cowboys.
I can see him liking that job. John Gruden isn't the type of guy that wants to work with a Jerry Jones over his shoulder
you're
all
right.
the
He
time.
wants complete control.
And he knows that Oakland area. He knows the Davis family very well. And he's probably like, I can work.
The restaurants.
I can work with this team. I got a running back. I got a quarterback. I got good receivers. I just got to get a little O line and get this D back to where it should be.
He's got a restaurant in Oakland, Gruden's Grill. What's it called?
I don't know.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Maybe
I think it's a macaroni house.
the macaroni house. Ari, how was your New Year's?
Oh, great. Bunch of ketamine.
Jesus
and
Christ!
Some alcohol.
Ketamine?
Yeah, a little bit of cocaine. Yeah.
No, you didn't. You don't do cocaine.
No, I knew he was lying once he said cocaine.
No, just one bump of coke, but the rest is just ketamine. Bump, line.
You've been hanging out with. He's so dumb. I don't even know what that's something that people would say. I don't even know what that's like the lingo that the kids use today.
No, I did a bump, then I did another bump, then I did like a little line, then I did a full line.
But it's a difference between a bump and a line. They're the same thing.
No, bump is just you put the fucking key in there and just like take one nostril.
Okay.
A line, you gotta like move.
I see.
Who am I talking to right now?
I just always assumed those were the same two things. I thought a bump was one line of coke.
I bumped you in line, remember?
Good point, Brody.
That is true.
Excellent point.
That sums it all up right there. Perfect. I know exactly what you're saying. Where are you right now, Ari? Where you been?
I'm in a steakhouse bathroom taking a nice wet dump.
Oh man, too bad we can't see this.
Steakhouse bathroom.
Brazilian steakhouse. We have an annual male comedians only, New York male comedians only lunch.
Oh, how many people show up for that?
Like 50.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Well,
I hope. Luckily, no women listen to the show. Otherwise, there would be a whole uproar about how more women need to be invited to the male-only comedian lunch.
male comedian only.
This is the shit I'm talking about.
Girls in like a group. This is what I'm talking about.
Ugh. I'm out. I need more male friends.
Yeah.
They're out there. They're looking for friends.
Yeah, Big Brothers of Burbank.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah, it's sponsored by NAMBLA.
Okay. And are you affiliated with this in any way?
Yeah, we do, it's a boys club thing. We talk about tying knots and surviving in a park.
Well, that's a knowledge that I probably should procure.
Yeah, can't hurt.
How to survive in a park.
I don't.
All right, did you watch the fights this weekend?
No, but I saw the highlights of them, and that Khabib guy looks great. I like what he's saying about Conor. Like, come on, don't be ridiculous. He's fought once in this fucking league, and he's not been fighting. Like, stop it. I'm looking for a real championship fight, not a money fight.
I love that. I love that somebody's finally saying that instead of all these people calling out Conor for a cash payday. All these 50-year-old boxers.
What are you talking about? He hasn't been a real fighter at either one of those divisions in fucking forever. So, like, what are we still talking about?
Well, it's the same thing as, like, De La Hoya trying to get his fucking calling fighters out of him. It's like, dude, I didn't like your last 3 fights 8 years ago when you were boxing. What makes you think you're going to do anything a decade later?
You know what Oscar De La Hoya is good at right now?
Being crazy?
Nanny. I think it's part of his people. I think they understand how to do it.
Yep.
And they clean while the baby's sleeping. So it's they're really doing a great job overall.
Yeah.
I think you should get in that.
And that was brought to you by racism. The other white meat.
Let me ask
Oscar
you.
House clean.
If you have a screen protector on your phone, does that protect the screen?
I believe.
If you see a crack, that just means the screen protector's cracked.
Yeah, you can take it off and then put a new one on.
But the screen's fine.
Yeah.
These things are...
No, the screen's cracked. The screen protector is plastic. It won't crack. You have a crack underneath the screen protector.
That's what you're saying.
No, mine always cracks, and then I just take it off and put a new one on.
Okay.
Screen protector cracks?
Yeah.
No, you buy them. They're like these plastic things that are supposed to protect your phone, not like the cheap one.
Maybe you should stop buying shit like that when you have a baby on the way that you have to provide for. Maybe you should stop buying screen protectors. You fucking idiot.
Okay, but if my phone breaks, how am I going to afford a $500 phone? Shouldn't I just buy a $7 screen protector?
You will talk on a cracked phone. You will feed your baby milk.
Yeah, you have a cracked
$7
phone.
protector smatter than a new phone. I'm doing this right.
I use a protector on my screen door.
Yes.
Hey, Nanny.
Yes?
Can we all drink your breast milk when you have your baby?
Oh, Ari.
If you want to. I mean, not from my boob. I'll bring you
have a
some.
glass of it. At least a shot of it.
Oh, no.
I tried my cousin's.
Yeah.
It's not that weird. It tastes like strawberry milk.
Yeah, it's weird, though.
Let's try it. We're trying it on air.
I mean, maybe it was a bag of bets.
No, as it's just a
No, because I'm going to have to save it.
Nutrients.
Yeah, nutrients. You guys need those
God.
vitamins.
I think it's going to regrow my
I'll
hair.
be sick that day.
What'd you say about your hair?
It's going to regrow my hair.
You should just take some of her breast milk and just put it all over your scalp and massage it in. Like shampoo, breast milk shampoo.
Yeah.
I should pitch that to Renazizi. That's
Shampoo.
a goddamn good idea.
It's a good run to DC. Like, he needs an investment, too. So that might work.
If anybody's in the Midwest, I'll be with Renazizi 18th, 19th, and 20th of this month. So that's in like 2 weeks. So come see us at Helium Comedy Club in St. Louis.
Go Cards.
Go Cards. Good callback, brother. Ari, what about you? Where are you going to be?
Well, I'm going to go to Athens. I'm leaving for Athens today, and I'll be there on Thursday night. I got a show there at their 40 Watt Club, and then my Asheville shows are sold out, but then I'm going to be going to the National Championship game with Segura and Kreischer.
Oh, you're going to Atlanta. Nice.
Yeah.
That stadium is awesome, I hear. I mean, I haven't seen it, but...
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I want the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Is that what it is?
That's correct, yeah.
It looks cool. They sell it out for soccer.
I sold out for everything. A lot of times you get it cool enough, and we'll see that with the Rams' new stadium. You get a new, cool, shiny stadium venue, it gets sold out for everything for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are going in that Mercedes-Benz stadium because they're like, I'm going to see this new stadium I've been hearing about. It's supposedly super awesome and cheap.
The roof is like, what do you mean cheap? It's not expensive to get in?
Well, it's like they made sure that like beers are like $4, hot dogs are only $2. Like they lowered all the prices of everything to entice people to go. Instead of a $15 beer, you can go to a football game and have, you know, 3 $5 beers instead of one beer for $15.
And they wonder why the NFL is struggling.
What's
that? They don't charge enough on beer.
They charge way too much.
It's not a good business plan.
Way too much. I went to go see Morrissey with Adam and Jeff Richards and Theo, and so we go see Morrissey at the Hollywood Bowl, and we're waiting in line, like concessions line. It said wine, $46.
That's for a bottle, though, right?
Yeah, but still, it's a $4 bottle of like $2 Chuck.
No, I know.
And it's $50. And they pour it in like a big, like almost looks like a tall Starbucks, like iced coffee, like a
carafe. It's a carafe.
But it's just a plastic cup with
you don't even get glass.
With a lid on it and a straw. So now it's all these white trash fucking, or like Real Housewives twats walking around with this giant big gulp with a straw in it, just sucking red wine with their purple ass teeth.
Yeah.
Yuck.
It's so classless. And that's me saying that.
What are they doing at a Morrissey concert?
I was just kidding. It was all Mexicans. I've never seen so many Mexicans in one place at one time. And that even includes the 2 times I went to Mexico.
Was the ICE there?
What do you mean?
In immigration.
Deportation.
Oh. No, but it did look like, right, when you see the line going outside of everybody going in, I'm like, are they giving away green cards in this motherfucker?
That's racist. You're going to get written up on this one.
Ripped up. Ripped up.
That's what we get. That's where Punch Drunk crosses the line right there.
I like when Brody calls a line. He's like, come on, stop it, you guys. I like when Brody decided that.
I'm a good barometer,
Guys, lastly, before we wrap up, don't forget, you got to get tickets to anything, and that includes a lot of Ari's tickets. Go to our good friends at SeatGeek, SeatGeek.com. Use the code PunchDrunk, and that gets you $20 off of any concert you want to go to. Everybody that I know uses SeatGeek. I feel very proud that we've been spreading the word about them.
I used them for the national championship game, so it only cost me fucking $20 off didn't mean much.
Now when it comes to those tickets, people do that like, hey man, $20 off. That's great if I'm going to a regular thing. But if you're gonna, like Sam got World Series tickets, so we're like, $2,000 for 2 tickets or something.
$980. You're like,
knocking $20 off of that, and doesn't really help too much. But what is great about SeatGeek is you can put in a search for what you're looking for. They will give you the best deals. Here's tickets that are a little overpriced. This one is a best deal for you. These ones are not that great.
Yeah, I like how it says that. Like, you're like, look, if you really want to go here, it's not, they're selling it for too much. But like, if you really want to go, it's fine. They tell you to put it in red. And then the other times, like, hey, if you're even thinking about going.
Yeah, SeatGeek is like an honest friend that has a hookup for every ticket for everything. You know what I mean? They'll be like, you can buy these. These are kind of crappier seats, but this one is probably better for your budget. And it's cool to even go in there and just, let's say you don't even know what you want to go to, but you want to do something. You can literally go into SeatGeek and just scroll through the calendar and be like, hey, who's going to be in this part of town that I'm at? So do use our good friends at SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com. Use the code PunchDrunk. That gets you 20 free bucks to gamble with. I mean, not gamble with, it could be gambling with if you're trying to go to something stupid. You could totally gamble with it.
Take that money and go right to BetDSI.
Take that money, put it right back into BetDSI. Brody, what do you got coming up? Thank you so much for being on the show. I feel like I learned a lot about your life today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate Jayson and Candace and for letting me go and talk. That's the great thing about podcasts. I have a podcast here at All Things Comedy. We'll be releasing it very soon. It's the Steven Brody Stevens Festival of Sports. We have about 20 in the can, and we're just waiting for the right algorithm, the right day to drop it.
Great.
Yeah, you're on it right now. I'm taping this one right now.
It's called a podcast inside of a podcast, which is another idea that I had.
You could also find me at the Comedy Store a couple nights a week. I don't have many road gigs. I don't really get booked on the road. I do the Comedy Store. I'm funny enough for that, but apparently not much else. So I am considering going into buying stock in apple cider vinegar with my Bitcoin, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome, Aaron. As always, thanks. Fight Nanny, please take care of yourself. You look glowing, and we're all very happy for you. It's the first Punch Drunk baby that wasn't aborted. Ari, have a great time in Athens, buddy.
Thanks. Take care.
Enjoy it. Ari, Skype.
Suck it.
Is that the end of it?
You got it.